What's up, Spren of all shapes, sizes, and varieties? This is Fantology with our final review of Rhythm of War. Final for now. Who knows? By the time Book 5 comes out, we may do another review or something. That may be a few years from now. But as it stands now, we have finished the book. We did reviews of all 5 parts, and we just concluded a non-spoiler review. So this is going to be a little more brief, spoiler-filled review of the book. If you haven't read yet, obviously don't listen unless you want the plot horribly spoiled. So in our previous review, in the non-spoiler review, we talked about how we loved all 4 of these books, but for some of us, Rhythm of War was maybe not as good as the other ones. I think I was the highest. I gave it 9 out of 10, but there were ratings as low as high 7s, even. Looking at you, Jake. So I think now is the time to go full spoilers and why we did and did not like parts of the book. Overall, we love the book. Like Jake said in the previous episode, every minute was a delight, but at the same time, it was like, did there need to be as many minutes, I guess is the thing, right?
I finalized my review at an 8. So 8 out of 10.
Okay, there were no 7s. We're up to 8 after I threw shade at you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So can I just get my one criticism out of the way? Is that okay?
All right, hot takes coming in.
Okay, here we go. So I defended in part 2, I defended this chapter where Shallan goes and interviews like these 3 people.
Oh, right? Yeah. That was,
So I fought you guys on this. I said,
because
no.
we said what?
Yeah, well, because you guys are like, oh, it was just kind of long-winded to get this, to do the strategy of, laying a trap, and we all know it's not going to go anywhere.
It's like Sanderson's come up with this brilliant new way of finding a spy that we've never heard of before. Like, and I said, oh my gosh, lay a false trail.
I said, no. This chapter was doing that, but it was also a clever way to get us to know these characters that are going to be on the trip with us. Right? Like it was a way to have these, detailed conversations where you get their backstory.
Really important characters.
Kind of really info dumpy. And then did we get any of those characters mentioned or ever again in the book?
They all just got left behind.
Like 2 chapters later.
I don't even remember their names.
I don't either.
I remember Stump because I was like, hey, Stump.
Yeah. And so I was...
who else? We had Gadecki and... whoever the Stone Ward was. What a disappointment. We finally get a Stone Ward.
Yeah.
They do nothing.
Nothing. So I sat there spending 10 minutes of that episode defending this chapter, which I assumed was going to have better payoff. And that honestly dropped my rating. Like maybe it's just because I have to eat my words, but I feel like I would have given it like a solid 9 out of 10 or 9.5 out of 10 if it weren't for that scene.
All right, because of pride, Josh's review falls.
Do you know what else Josh defended?
What now?
Emil, or whatever that is.
The Battle of Emil. I was
fine with Emil.
Really?
I was fine with that section. Yeah.
But why did it happen?
What do you mean? Why?
Like, what was the point of it? Just to get Dalinar out of the tower?
Not just to get Dalinar out of the tower, it's continuing you couldn't just put all of that on hold while there's a thing in Urithiru,
It's kind of to push Dalinar's bondsmith training.
Yeah, it's like obviously for Dalinar's character, but also plot wise, it makes sense. Like the war needs to continue. It would be kind of weird for the story to be like, okay, the war's on hold because they've taken Urithiru now. So I mean,
I'll say we either needed a lot more of it or just none of it.
No, I could do with a little more of it, but I think it was fine how it was.
The ending was pretty intense.
Yeah, the ending was great.
I think it should have been more consequential. I think we had enough time with it, a good amount of time with it, but I feel like that it should have connected in some way. Like either Dalinar realizes after fighting this battle that it's not worth the cost, and so that leads directly to his decision with Odium.
That does happen. He's fighting the battle. Yeah, and he goes, that's the reason he decided when Odium rejected the deal that Wit had come up with, Dalinar decided, we need to make
Yeah.
a deal right now because we're not going to survive a protracted war like this.
Yeah,
like
I agree, but I think he should have like lost an email or something because of that. Like, I know that he reaches that decision, but I don't feel like it was because of this specific battle that we spent 100 pages reading about.
I will say
I
that
saw a direct connection to that, but
I
Okay,
will say
maybe I
that
missed
I feel like you're onto something a little bit there, Ben. I agree with Jake that there was a connection for sure with the Tervangi and Todium thing, but I was so emotionally invested in what was happening with Kaladin and Navani and Yurithiru that I just didn't care about Emil because I was like, well, I care about Yurithiru and what's going on there, and Emil doesn't seem to carry the same weight, and I'm not as attached to it. So when that stuff was happening, I was like, yeah, whatever, but are we going to get out of the tower? Like, is that going to be resolved? That's all I really cared about.
I think the weakest part of Emil for me was not the military campaign, but the fact that that it's just like, okay, he's pretty sure Urithiru's been taken over, and then he sends some scouts, and then that kind of like, there wasn't a good resolution there, in my opinion, of him
Right.
either like fully accepting, okay, it's taken over, but once I'm done with this, I'm going to go back there, or not knowing or something. That was kind of like vague on how
They kind of had that council with Yasna and Wit, and like Yasna's like, we have to be realistic, and Don's like, we have to go in, but like you could tell his heart really wasn't in it. Like, I wanted the Blackthorns to like be kicking down some doors, like to get to his love. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I
But
feel like
also, what options did they have? They had no ability to get back, right?
Yeah, I feel like that the point of the council was to like show, like it was Saracen saying, "Hey, like this is why I didn't have that happen." You know?
Yeah, I just think that part could have been a little stronger. But honestly, that was my only real complaint with Emil.
Okay, so what are some things we liked? What were the highlights from this?
Kaladin's growth was great. Obviously, I think that's going to be people's favorite parts to this. The whole Die Hard sequence in the tower of him being like only using half his powers and using Navani's device to Spider-Man around. I don't know, all of that was great for
Do
me.
you guys remember how I called the Iron Man scene where Kaladin is like gets all the wind spread to him, like Iron Man getting his armor? That was a pretty epic sequence. I mean, that
forms this plate, yeah.
It just goes along with what Jake was saying. That ending scene where Moash is like, whatever you do, don't attack him. He's broken. And then sure enough, the pursuer attacks him, and Kaladin is like, I am going to kill you. And he literally lashes his head off.
Yeah.
That was insane.
I was kind of confused, just technically speaking, how he was still able to do the reverse lashings when it's not adhesion.
Yeah,
It's
because
still
of
gravitation.
Yeah, I think that was a little vague. Maybe we're gonna learn more about why the whole thing happened there. You know, I mean, why did adhesion work at all? Just because it's like closest.
It's like purely honor, I guess. Yeah.
But why? Like, why does that matter? Because the
sibling is both. So
yeah.
Like adhesion is only going from Stormlight.
So that's why regrowth worked as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we also got a little bit of a sciencey info dump when Vanley was talking to Leshwi Rabonel, one of the fused, about the different adhesions, and they were like, oh no, the adhesion, or basically the gravity lashing is just of honor, and Odium doesn't have access to that.
Or adhesion is just of honor.
Adhesion, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why the fused only have 9 orders instead of 10.
And she was saying that it's really just a contrived lashing because it doesn't actually really like exist.
Yeah, it's more to do with the binding of honor.
Yeah.
So why did they have 9 and not 8? Because why did they get regrowth with?
Because that's cultivation.
Because that's cultivation. So honor, because I think originally it was, well, I don't know.
It seems like it's always been honor versus odium instead of honor and cultivation versus odium.
Yeah,
odium killed honor, and he didn't. Cultivation's still there.
Well, I think he would have killed cultivation if he was able to find her. That was a thing he was trying to do, right?
Maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think one of the things that this book did really well is make Odium into much more of a human character. I mean, like partly by having Taravangian become Odium, but also before that, like we found out that his motivations were to kill all the shard bearers and not incorporate their characteristics, just to kill them. And we found like near the end when he's doing the contract with Dalinar, we learned that he's like struggling and that
He's like, yeah,
hasn't foreseen it. So like
Yeah.
Odium definitely became more of a like a presence that we could wrap our head around
Yeah.
and see a way to defeat him.
he's more of a character than a force.
And it was set
Yeah,
up
I don't
from
know.
the beginning with this idea of the intent of the shard was at odds with the bearer. And I think from the beginning, like the Shaw Not interlude talked about this, and then a few other times. And then not being able to see the future has been discussed with Renarin and everything. So yeah, I agree with that. I think by the end, the payoff with Odium was awesome.
I feel like you're right to an extent, Ben, that they like did humanize Odium or raise, but I guess they showed some vulnerabilities, and then they just kind of made those irrelevant when they kill Rays and Taravangian takes place. And now I'm like, oh well, crap! How are they ever gonna take down Odium now? Because Taravangian's even like outmaneuvering Wit. It's like, how do they stand a chance? He's just gotten on like a whole nother level.
Well, I can see that criticism. I think that they almost become more relevant though, because it shows the human, like seeing a shard bearer, or not a shard bearer, a shard holder die on screen. It made it all the more like raise the stakes, you know, because before I think we all just kind of assumed that Odium would just be able to, you know, if there's a sword coming for him, just like somehow just use a God Force type thing to strike down the sword, you know. And now we see that the stakes are raised in terms of like that they can just be killed by.
So victory
weapons.
is possible, right? I mean, we have Todium now, Taravangian Odium, as the fandom is calling him. But we could take him down. I mean, we just took down Rhodium, so it's possible. But at the same time, yeah, Todium seems pretty tough, especially with him tricking Hoyd, which is not something we've ever seen before.
Yeah, I think we also have to recognize that somebody is going to have to pick up the shard. You know what I mean? Like there is always going to be Odium, probably.
Well,
Unless they
that's
get
They could
splintered.
splinter it.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Which seems like it'd be real bad, like a bunch of Odium spren pop up everywhere. We have splinters of pure evil or passion.
And let's say spoilers for Mistborn. Can we do spoilers for Mistborn here? I think we're
not big, but
well, I want to do big spoilers. So
On to the big ones. All right, spoilers for Mistborn starting
tune
now.
out for the next.
if you haven't read the first Era one Mistborn, because we got to talk about Mistborn in this because of the other reveal that was in here. So
okay, spoilers for Mistborn
I think
Era 1
generally-
starting now.
yeah. So I mean, we saw already a really clever use of how Sanderson was able to kind of zero out in a way Ruin's powers by combining preservation Ruin into harmony. So there's nothing to say that like there's not room in the Cosmere for Odium to be, for the shard of Odium to be incorporated into happy ending for the Cosmere.
Yeah.
Preservation and Ruin are kind of a unique situation though, where they were so at odds with each other. I mean, I don't know what is going to be.
Yeah, is there a shard app? Maybe Whimsy. They'll combine Whimsy and Odium.
I know. I'm
A
just saying.
whimsical
like,
hatred.
I'm not saying that it's going to happen the exact same way as it happened with Preservation and Ruin, but I think that Sanderson has shown that like there are clever ways.
Yeah,
that
there's
he can make
ways
this
that
happen, you know?
Is that the end of the Mistborn spoilers then?
We
There's
might come
another
back
one
to
we're gonna have
this.
to talk. Yeah,
Okay.
we're gonna have to talk about another one later on.
Talking
we
about
don't. I mean, we don't need to talk about every plot point
Yeah.
unless you do. You want to talk about Thydakar?
Yeah, let's talk about Thydakar while we're going
Okay.
on for Mistborn spoilers.
Before we get there, just and going back to what you're saying with the shard thing, like this book disproved like not even a theory, just like something I'd taken for granted. When they brought up how Odium like could be just passion and Oathbringer, I thought, oh, the shard must actually just be passion, but because Ray's is a hateful full person, his own personality is like influencing the intent of the shard and making it hatred. So once they kill him, someone else can pick up the shard and it would be great. Like it would just be passion. But this totally disproved that concept I had in my mind, because like it is Odium and Taravangian is just as angry now. And
Well, he's not just as angry. He's still wanting to be able to save the Cosmere.
yeah, but he talks about the burning rage that it brings him. It,
Right.
it disproved my passion theory that maybe this is a more benevolent shard than originally thought.
That's my
Yeah.
main confusion after reading this book and going into book 5. I don't understand how Taravangian, how Todium is at odds here, where he's saying, now I have the power to save the world, but what is he saving it from? Like, what are we doing now? We're just fighting against the shard Odium because we have the deal in place and the 10 days are happening and Odium wants to do this other stuff, but how much of that was raised and what happens now that we have Todium? I don't understand everything that we're looking forward to there with that plot point.
So here, can I put my 2 cents in there? for that?
Yeah.
So I think that Ray's plan was to basically train a bunch of like the elite strike force of humans, right? To go and take out other shards.
Yeah, he
Right.
just wanted to
He
kill
said
all the
that.
other shards so he would be the most
Right.
powerful.
And I think it's implied, and I might just be reading into this, but I think it's implied that shards cannot like directly move against each other and like harm each other. And that's why like they can't harm Wit directly.
Well, he certainly harmed other shards.
Wit's not a shard though.
Right. But I think that they might have all signed the same like pact.
There's something different going on with Wit. And honestly, if you haven't read Dawn Shard, you might not understand exactly,
Okay.
Josh.
Okay, so I'm just okay, but I think that still I stand by that. Ray's was making this army of super soldiers, right? And that's where it came from, like fighting in the Drinklin halls.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they're going to go invade other worlds or something, right?
Yeah.
Which is what he wants Dalinar for still.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that that Todium is probably going to be just go about that way differently, but still kind of have the same strategy, right?
I see him trying to be like a benevolent dictator in the sense that like I'm smart, I understand everything, so this is how a perfect world should be. Let me impose it on you throughout
Okay.
the Cosmere. That's how I see him being a threat.
Or could it be like, I'm saving Roshar and I'm going to destroy the rest of the Cosmere type thing?
I mean, I don't know why his motivation would be to destroy. I think it's more to subjugate into a utopia.
I don't know. Maybe it's
And
a
his
dark
own
forest.
utopia.
Maybe it's a dark forest situation here, Jake.
Could be a dark forest situation. Good. Yeah, good call. I'm on board.
I
So
feel like we definitely. Sorry, Ryan, go for it.
the big question I have from this whole thing is that this was kind of planned for by Cultivation. She was literally preparing Taravangian to take up the shard of Odium, and after like Odium realizes this, he thinks to himself, I forget exactly, but it was something like, oh, she's made like she has no idea what she's done, like in putting me in or giving me the shard of Odium. So do you think this do you think that somehow Taravangian is already outmaneuvering Cultivation, or this is something that Cultivation already knows will happen?
It seemed like he's outmaneuvering her, but it would be nice to see her win, right?
Yeah.
Also, does his boon and curse and boon, are those still in effect? Now that he
No.
Is Odium going to be
Ascended?
super dumb now?
well, it's not the super dumb thing. Like, could he switch back to being super compassionate? You know, because that could be
I don't think
a
so.
saving grace.
He died, right? Like Taravangian's mortal body died.
No, I don't think he's dead. I think he went into the shard of Odium before he died.
No,
Yeah,
no,
'cause
his body was there.
No, the corpse
No,
was raised.
That was Ray's corpse. Because
Oh.
it was Ray's blackened corpse from
That's right. Okay,
Um,
you're right.
and it whether he
Steven just got
did
shot down by the Fantology team.
whether
Alright.
he did transcend
That's what I have him here for.
or die or not, the curse and a boon seems to be more of a spiritual change. like in the spiritual realm. So I don't know if that's something that like
Do we have to
tides
talk about like
over.
this concept of spirit webs now?
Spirit webs.
I know this is the thing, but I don't understand.
I think that's just kind of like your spiritual DNA, right? The spiritual realm DNA.
All right. Yeah.
I don't know. I could be wrong on that.
All right. Let's move on to a different topic. So back to some favorite parts, maybe. What other parts of the book should we talk about?
Go, Joe.
Okay. Wait.
Or Ben.
I feel like we have to talk about this. Was like a crazy part, like the whole Teft being such an integral part of it throughout all of it, and then dying.
Yeah,
that was crazy. And then I also, so we can talk about that really fast.
Yeah, and I was thinking about this as well because we read the Sanderlanche, obviously, and he died, and then I was thinking back to earlier parts when Kaladin was saving him and dragging him through the tower and keeping him alive and everything. And now thinking back to that, like his death is even the more impactful because of everything that, and I feel like maybe I had forgotten that a little bit just because of how long it takes to read the book. But now seeing it all tied together was really good.
Yeah, like imagine nurturing somebody for like weeks and weeks. I'm not sure how long it was, but it was, like you're just like taking care of this comatose person.
I mean, and combined with their relationship from the previous time as well. Yeah.
Especially when he's not on the rocks when he's on the rocks with his father. He was seeing Teft as kind of a father figure. Right.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Teft volunteering to stay there with them, and yeah, it's crazy. So, but I feel like that was handled really well, right? Like I think as an audience, we all were sad when Teft died, but it was combined with happiness that he had found peace and that he had helped Kaladin in the end. So I thought that was done really well.
Also, from my end, a little bit of relief, maybe, because going into part 5, I was super worried that someone big was going to die. I thought maybe Navani might die. And so I was relieved that, I mean, this is going to sound bad. I was relieved that it was only Teft that died and not someone I was more emotionally attached to. But it was someone that Kaladin was super emotionally attached to. As a reader, like we like Teft, but there's a ton of other characters that maybe we like more. And so I was okay with Teft dying, and I thought it worked really well for the story.
I thought his death was really well done in every way. Like the impactfulness of it, his like it being like his own end. It was like great for him personally as a character and for Kaladin. It was all really well done.
And it furthered Moash as being a super villainous person.
Yeah, and like we didn't really talk about this, but it impacted Moash like as much as Kaladin almost. Like once Moash loses his connection to Odium and has to feel his pain again, like that was a huge moment for him. Kind of a similar or related part to that, when Kaladin kills Raboniel, or not Raboniel, kills
I'm like, wait, I missed something.
the pursuer.
Lesian, the pursuer.
That's his name, Lesian?
Yeah.
Did
you read the book?
I didn't know him as the pursuer.
He's the defeated man.
Yeah, the defeated. I mean, something, this was a really cool part. And I don't know what the implications are, but something weird happened to Kaladin there. His eyes turned yellow red or red gold or something, and
Venli was like, it reminded her of something, but she didn't say what.
This is something we talked about in our part 5 review. Like that's tough. Like you don't know if he was like starting to turn into like Odium's champion, but
that's what
I don't think it went that way.
That's what I thought at first, but then he obviously, like, it didn't affect his bond with Syl. So then I was like, well,
it did though. Syl was like, I can't remember the words anymore, and she was starting to fade.
Well, that wasn't because of that though. That was because of the
tower being corrupted.
The tower being corrupted and dampening.
I think it was also because of Syl's personal journey that she had gone on of being a little bit more pessimistic. I'm sure it all played into it, but I don't know if that was the only cause.
But like he could still like surge bind fine, you know. So I feel like if he was channeling Odium, I don't know if that really would have been.
It was definitely something though. I guess that's something that we just kind of have to put a pin in and remember.
Yeah, but that was a really cool part. I thought all the science stuff in the tower was really cool. I know that's kind of for some people could be a boring part to read. But to me, every time they made a new discovery of like,
Yeah.
oh,
this is your science fiction love coming through.
yeah,
Because I liked it too, and I'm not a
Yeah.
huge science fiction fan, but I like science fiction.
It was just cool how he incorporated physics, how like
yeah,
the opposite of a wave, or like to cancel a wave, it's basically the same exact thing, just
Like-
out of frame a little bit, so that the waves and the troughs cancel each other out, or the peaks and the troughs.
yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool. Also, Steven, since you're a big fan of Way of Kings, do you remember the interlude? Or it wasn't an interlude. It was with Shallan, and she was talking to her monk friend, not her monk.
With the
Absol.
city, the creation of the cities.
Yeah. Well, yeah, with the creation of the cities, and he
with
used
the sand. Yeah.
Yeah, with the sand. Yeah, that was kind of tying it back into that.
I connected that like when they first like brought up the singers and the rhythms. I assumed that meant that they sang these cities into formation, and like someone, what is it? Would it be a dust bringer or whoever has tension? Or is that a bondsmith? I don't know. But like they made the tension of the land loose, and then they sang and let it like ripple into a city.
Will shapers.
Will shapers.
They're
And
one
do
of
we
the
think
ones
that's
that have tension.
Do we think it's the same thing with Shattered Plains? Because that's another unanswered mystery that's been hinted at. What
Maybe.
shattered the plains?
Maybe they tried
Maybe.
doing it and then lost their connection, so they like were mid song and then they lost the song or couldn't hear the rhythms, and then
I don't know.
that's what shattered the plains.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
But yeah, I like the connection of the like the rhythms, the singers here, and the cities, like you said, Ben, to the how like the Stormlight has a frequency and like rhythm to it. It's really cool.
Yeah.
And then Navani's plotline in general. Awesome, right? I mean,
I really liked it.
we talked about this in part 5, in the part 5 review, and apparently Mike over at Mike's book reviews had the same take, but this was Venley's book with the flashbacks, but really we liked Navani the most, right? Like maybe it
really
should have been
Navani's
Navani's book. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she had the best quote of the book, which is "Journey before destination, you bastard."
Yes.
Yeah.
Like by far, like I was thinking about it earlier today, and it was just giving me chills. Like,
Yeah.
it's such a cinematic moment, and
That was
it
a
just
big fist pump. Yeah. Was that the bigger fist pump moment, or was Kaladin getting his plate and saving Lyrin the bigger fist pump moment?
Kaladin, sorry.
I don't
Paladin was
know.
less of a fist pump moment and more of a just like
Sigh of-
heartwarming and just like
Yeah, let me dry my tears here.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's
Her-
okay.
her saying journey before destination was more of a yeah, get him.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why. Look, I don't know why you guys are just glancing over our man, Dabbit. He said "Journey Before Destination."
You
as well.
couldn't even remember his name.
David's great. I loved David in this as well.
David
love it
goes in
when
the
you-
same category as those other two fist pump moments.
Like, he also said "Journey Before Destination." All right.
He didn't say you bastard at the end.
Yeah. He said radiant. He said "Journey before destination, radiant." Right? Is that what he said?
I don't know.
I don't
But-
even remember what it said because it wasn't as awesome.
I agree. I really thought Navani's and the thing is, this had been hinted at literally since the prologue, where we find out that she was like that her husband like looked down on her as not a scholar, and that she kind of had this complex about her, and it just was
Yeah.
like this slow evolution from the very first page. So
Did you guys feel like there was like a misdirection a little bit with Relaine that wasn't really enforced enough to be a misdirection?
As far
Like-
as Relaine becoming the bondsmith.
Yeah, like I felt like they talked, like they hinted at it, and then they're like, "Oh, we got to get like, let me get
Well, that's-
Relaine to you," but then I felt like it wasn't done enough for it to really be.
You
like,
never
I-
really believed that it was going to be Relaine. You're like, it's
Half of-
they assume. You're thinking they assume it's
I
going to be
thought it was
Relaine.
gonna be Relaine.
I don't
thought
know.
it
He
was,
had
like
the
half
nice.
of me
he had-
thought it's got to be Relaine. The other half of me is like, but Navani makes so much more sense. It's got to be
Yeah.
Navani.
Well,
And so
sounds
it was
like a
like
pretty
going
good
back and
misdirection
forth.
then, Jake.
Yeah.
Well, no, misdirection is you don't think of the other thing at all, and then oh yeah, now I see it. Instead of like, wait, which one is it going to be the whole time?
The sibling though was just kind of so against bonding anybody, let alone a human, that I was.
Yeah.
That's what made me.
Plus Navani with the capturing Spran, like he really didn't like her. So, or they I'm
It.
sorry, they didn't like her.
Talk about cool gray characters. I really liked Raboniel.
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
awesome.
With her daughter and how she kind of used the anti-void light to kill her daughter so that she would stop her suffering. I
Mhm.
mean, we thought she was going to be like so evil, and she was pretty evil. You know, she was planning on killing all the Radiants with the anti-stormlight. But I mean, at the end, she helped Navani against Moash.
She was just so driven to end this war that she did not care.
She was
One-
like,
one
obviously
iota.
she wanted to win, but
Yeah, one
if
axiom.
it was her side
Axiom.
not losing and the other side actually finishing it, she would just wanted it over.
Yeah, for her, an end to the war was winning, and she didn't care if she had to kill a dozen Radiants. She didn't care if she had to slaughter a tower full of people. She didn't
Yeah.
like, and so I mean, especially with the context that the book gives of her being literally like millennia old and this like destroying her daughter, destroying her life, like destroying her existence, destroying Roshar's existence. You know, like she basically sees herself as saving the world by ending this conflict, which she is doing, right? And so I think that she was made into a very, very compelling villain, anti-hero slash just like, I don't know, she was great.
Yeah. Really like
This is
Antagonist.
something we've talked about probably in every part episode, or we've talked about this a few times, this concept of the villains in the Stormlight Archive, and they've been killed a lot, and we keep on getting new ones. And what do we think, or who do we think the villains are going to be in part 5? Like L and his group of fused soldiers that are now separated from Odium and Todium in general. Like, I guess this is one thing that I kind of question, because we had some cool new villains here in Lesian and Raboniel, but they're gone as soon as they came in for this book.
Yeah, I think the pursuer / defeated / Lesian was probably one of the more disappointing parts of the book for me. It just like provided, it was just there to provide Kaladin with some cool like action moments throughout it.
Yeah, he was just kind of like a mindless
he
muscle
never really seemed
enemy.
that much of a threat.
Yeah, so
To be honest. I really like I like the arc he had of I'm this cool pursuer, and then Kaladin like turning him into the defeated. Like that was really cool.
Yeah,
But
if it was something like I honestly like if I was writing the book or whatever, like I wish that he would have killed, like if another member of Bridge 4 might have killed him, and then he went and killed the member of Bridge 4, and then like Kaladin was like, oh crap, you know what, like some type of tension or some type of like he actually impacted the plot in like a somewhat major way, because it felt like he was going to. So I don't know. He could have had more of like a Moash feel, where it was like an actual threat. Like whenever he was on the screen, you kind of got chills. Instead
Okay,
of
so we
just
love
like, oh, look.
Raboniel.
Yeah.
We loved Raboniel. We're like, meh on the pursuer. Moash is still cool. He's still around, although he has been blinded. Here's a thing. So Rhodium, I think this is still the Rhodium time. When he's dealing with Dalinar, he says, I know my champion. Do you know yours? And so who's his champion that he knows?
Wait, have you guys heard the theories on this?
no, spew him.
Yeah, what are they?
Oh, Adolin. I've heard Adolin.
No,
but
it's really sad. This is 17th shard theory.
Okay.
Or one of the people on 17th shard.
Oh, here it comes. We're
Do
all
you
gonna
guys
be
know-
crushed.
It wait, what's his name?
Yeah, bitch.
It's the Princeling kid.
oh
yeah.
Gavinor.
Oh, yeah.
Gavinor.
Yeah,
Lil
Gavinor.
Gav.
But how is
How
Gavinor
in
going
10
to
days'
progress
time?
in 10 days?
Shh, because it's a battle to the death. So is
Oh.
Dalinar going to be able to kill him? Kill a child?
Oh,
Ooh,
shoot.
baby.
He's got to channel his Robert Baratheon and just go ham.
It's so depressing. But it makes so much sense, and it would be
Wow.
it would be such a Todium thing to do.
So that's the
And-
reason why
and-
Gavinar exists
and
right
You
now.
think that was Rhodium's idea too?
Well,
or is that
I don't
gonna
know if
be
it was Rhodium. I think Rhodium still wants to turn Dalinar or Kaladin, but there's also a death rattle of in the first book of them holding, like, saying, "I hold a child in my arms with a knife to the throat, and the whole world wants me to like move my wrist, but I can't," or something like that.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
17th shard,
Dang.
ladies and gentlemen. This is why these guys exist.
I feel like it's pretty obvious that Dalinar is going to lose the duel, whether
That's
intentionally or not. Like he's going to somehow become bound to Odium and then have to like defeat Odium from within.
That's how I feel as well. That he's gonna lose. I don't know like how his plot will progress from there, but I think Dalinar loses.
So Odium can just choose whoever, even if they're unwilling to be his champion?
Well,
Maybe
I don't know, but
Gavinor.
no.
Gavinor
Gavinor-
could say yeah.
Gavinor also like was, within the, lived within
Yeah, within the effects
capital.
of
Yeah,
Kolinar.
Kolinar.
And the Unmade there.
yeah. So
Yeah, the Revel and everything. Yeah.
yeah.
And he wants revenge for his father's death. He's like 6 years old though. I mean, is it
I know.
Yeah.
So
17
so
Sorry,
So
guarantee here.
emotional, easily corrupted.
yeah.
I mean, we
Okay.
saw
Dang.
what Shallan did when she was like 6 or 7.
I mean, I have been wondering, like, why is he a thing?
Yeah.
Why is he
This
still around?
This is like when Ben realized the thing about Shallan killing her. Like, it makes so much sense. Like, when
Yeah.
it's said, and then you're like, oh crap, yeah, that's what's
Shoot.
gonna happen.
I hope it doesn't
um,
now. I mean, 3 years in advance and we already know the big thing.
Well, hopefully it's not the big thing. Hopefully that happens in like
That's gonna happen in like the first part
10
of the
days.
book. Yeah.
So, on a different note, what was Relane's spren? Was it the Windrunner sprint or the?
It's
the
a will
honor?
shaper.
It's a will shaper sprint that's corrupted.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
as Vinley's Spren.
What is Venley's sprint isn't corrupted though.
Oh yeah, I just mean the same
This one is corrupted.
same order. Same order.
So it's a light sprint.
I was
Yes. Yep.
I was confused with that because we saw that, like, we found out that that's the Kremling that's been kind of falling around that we've seen. I could
Yeah.
have sworn that Kremling had a connection to Dawn Shard, like the whole time. I thought it was one of the
Amian.
Amian, yeah.
Well, I guess it didn't.
It wasn't. But
Yeah, I don't remember anything like suggesting that. I had that thought at first because they, just because of
Yeah.
Kremling spies in general. I was like, oh, maybe it's one of those.
Yeah, like one of those fake pen spies.
Yeah.
It's kind of a strange little plot element there. All right, we haven't talked about Shallan and Adolin.
yeah,
I think-
this is big.
What's there to talk about? All right.
All right, so that's one opinion.
I really
You
like
know,
their
Shadowland,
I liked their little plot.
little plot.
Well, it really wasn't like that long, and like understandably so. Like that's all there was to it. But it's one of those things that didn't really have a huge impact to the overall plot of this book, but obviously will moving forward.
Yeah, I guess that was my main disappointment. I thought after the end of what was that, part 3 or part 4, when we get the "we chose" thing and Maya comes out with the big mic drop, I thought we were then immediately going to get stuff about the false desolation and the recreants, and this is going to tie in to the big ending in part 5. And I was maybe expecting a little more. And so now my understanding is this is going to be important for book 5. But I guess I just wanted more of a knitting together of these
Yeah.
plot lines.
That was kind of the theme of most of the climaxes of this book. Is they were like revelations or WTF moments that are like, dang, what's going to happen in the next book now?
Yeah.
So it like fell in line with that. But
yeah.
also, what's up with why did this, like the Shah Nat was the one that was captured and caused the slave form, right? Am I
No,
not-
that's
Bam.
Ba'edo
No.
Mishram.
that one.
Bam.
Bam.
Bam. What's up with Bam? Like, what's the connection between Bam and the Deadeyes? Like, how did capturing her affect all the other non-Odium Spren?
Don't know.
You guys
Maybe
not
17th shard
interested
has
to that part? Okay.
maybe this. Well, I'm interested. I just don't know. I don't have a theory. Maybe 17th shard has a theory. Josh,
Yeah.
continue listening. Let us know.
Those guys always have theories. We do have one question from Discord. Well, we have two. One is when we think when will the 10 days be complete? Part 1 through 5 are options.
Yeah.
I think part 1.
I think part 2.
Part 4.
Dang.
Oh, not
Really?
part 4. I think
I think
Climax
part
part
4.
2.
No, I'm with Ryan. I think part 4, and then we have the Sanderlanche in part 5 is like the conclusion of the 10 days or whatever
Yeah,
I
man.
think happens next.
No, I'm
Okay.
thinking. Although I guess this one he like the structure was do like a big action sequence in the beginning and then later. So if he does that again,
Yeah.
I don't think I'll do that again.
I
think
just
I'll-
don't know how
he-
you can. How can you split 10 days to last 1,000 pages?
Well, I think
mean,
that's why he did the year gap before this one to set this up. Like, I'm assuming he's plotting 4 and 5 pretty closely together.
The last season of How I Met Your Mother all happened within like one weekend. So you can squish stuff together.
Don't compare How I Met Your Mother to Stormlight Archive.
Okay, second question is how well are Kaladin and Seth going to get along? Will they have a lot of friction on
Oh,
their
yeah.
mission to Shinovar?
They
Lots
probably will because they
lots of
won't have
friction.
lift with them. Bada boom.
Dang, Steven, that was your best worst joke ever.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I foresee lots of friction with just their ideals of Zeth being like, this is what the law is, like nothing else, black and white. And then also the fact that he's definitely crazy.
I feel like they could become kind of like a fun buddy and frenemy combination a little bit here. There's
So
potential
here's-
for some good
Starsky and
stuff.
Hutch.
So
One's the suit, one's the more relaxed.
So here's one crazy thought. What if Zeth decides that some people need to die, that Kaladin decides he needs to protect, right?
Yeah,
Because
I
Zeth
don't-
is going on like a cleansing mission to Shinovar, and Kaladin's not about to let him kill random people.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't understand that pairing, like how that's going to work for Zeth's mission.
There's going to be some little duel, Avenger style duel where like I'm forgetting, was it
Civil
Hulk and Iron
War,
Man? that
Civil
threw
War
down?
style?
I was
Or
thinking more just like
Age of
Avengers
Ultron.
1. where they
The
kind of just,
Hulkbuster suit.
yeah, like where there's a little throwdown amongst heroes. There's probably going to be that.
For sure. For sure.
Or you think
Where-
more like a Thor Ragnarok situation?
I don't know. I'm just thinking that Seth is gonna like barely pull Nightblood, and it's gonna like he's gonna be like, oh no, and then put it back, and then they're gonna like calm down,
Do we know what would happen if Nightblood touched another shard blade? I can't remember if we've seen that on screen.
I don't know.
Well,
It might.
we see it nick the honor blade.
Yeah.
Oh,
we
that's
think
right. Yeah. Okay.
But the Honor
We've seen
Blade
it.
isn't. Well, I guess it is a living spren.
It's not.
The Honor Blade's not,
I don't
No.
think it's a spren.
Not at
because
all.
it still gifts radiant powers.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's not like they
It's-
came before they had them before Roshar, right? Didn't
No,
they?
they had them on Roshar because the Oath Pact was made on Roshar, but the Spren modeled themselves
Modeled after.
the Honor Blades.
Okay.
Okay.
They're just like an artifact.
So maybe
So
that's something we're still looking forward to.
All right, Josh, give us some more questions from Discord. I like it.
I just said I had the two. Those are the
Yeah.
two that.
That's it.
Okay, so
No,
I
that-
think that what we were on Shalon and Adela's plotline. I think the last thing we need to talk about with that is my prediction is that Shalon's going to go like they're going to split up. Adela's going to come back with a force of Spren that was decide to align with the humans because of we chose, and then Shalon is going to go off world hopping to find Lord of Scars, aka spoiler tag Kaladin. Not Kaladin.
Not that.
Kelsier.
Do
Your
you-
lead up was so great until the end.
See, I don't know. I feel like world hopping. I feel like that's got to be like book 6 through 10, right? Not
It's set up so
Book
perfectly,
5?
man. She's like, she's
Starting in
right
Shade
there. She's already befriended. What's his name?
Kellic, whatever.
Kilek. Yeah, she's already befriended Kilek. He wants to get off world. She wants to go deal with Idakar. Like, it's set up to do it, and I think it would make a lot of sense.
I think it makes sense to do it, but I just feel like,
Oh,
yeah, okay, the fate of the world's at stake right now, so let me go off.
What
on
is
this
Shalon gonna
adventure.
do, man? Light weave the like. I mean, come
She's
on.
gonna make her fake army of people like she did in Northbridge. Yeah, I want her
know.
to world top personally just because I really want to see world hopping.
Also, I'm pretty sure there's a reason why we haven't seen Mistborn 4 yet. Or Mistborn, sorry.
Third.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There were
The
two
fourth-
book
the
four.
The fourth
Era
Wax
2
and
book-
Wayne.
Yeah, the
Mistborn
fourth Wax
7.
and Wayne. Because I think that it's going to be revealed that this might tie into that.
yeah. The Trell thing that's going
Yeah.
on there at the end. I guess no spoilers, but some big stuff there.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
gonna come out before
I don't
Stormlight
know.
5.
I don't
No,
know.
it's gonna come out before Stormlight
Yeah.
5. That's his plan.
But I think that's why I think Stormlight 4 had to happen before Stormlight 5 for that revelation.
Well, yeah, Stormlight 4 did have to happen.
Or
before
sorry, Stormlight 4 had to
That's
happen
right.
before
That was very confusing.
Era
way to-
2.
Get him,
shut
Ben.
up.
Get
We're
it.
not Star Wars over here.
Yeah, no, Ben is not gonna stand for anyone messing up their words, especially not Kaladin.
Okay. Anyway,
The Thydakar thing was such a cool reveal. I mean, I guess it hasn't technically been. I don't know if it's been confirmed or not, but I think everyone.
Lord of Scars was
Lord
that
of
would
Scars,
be a
come
misdirect. That would be a
Yeah.
brand misdirect. If
That's
it's,
got to be. I mean, yeah, it's got to be him.
All right, so to wrap up, I think we've talked through. I mean, most of the stuff.
we got to do Venli, which is very telling that we're saving her till last.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and we should
Then
talk
use
about
Sashi
the
Shonai.
things we
Yeah,
didn't
saving
like as much.
her.
I liked Vinley as a character, and I really liked the flashbacks with Vinley and Eshonai. I thought on their own they're really good. I was just sad that they started so late and there weren't that many of them.
whoa,
was
that
a-
is
They weren't as impactful, right? Like the other flashbacks, there was some secret that we were learning the whole time,
Right.
and that really pushed it along. Like we wanted to know what happened to Kaladin. You know, why how did he get into this position? What was the big thing that Dalinar did that he hates himself so much for? What was Shallan's big secret? We already knew Venli.
We didn't know all of it though. Like we didn't know that she had been influenced, like that she had. We knew she was kind of like influenced by Odium Spren, but we didn't know that she had like been talking to whatever that Spren was called, and like
Yeah, we didn't know parts of it. We didn't know how she got to where she was, but we knew where she was going.
well, the big reveal I think was that she is the one that orchestrated the entire, both like coming forth of the desolation,
yeah,
and that she orchestrated Gavilar's death. Like those
Yeah.
two things,
yeah.
I think were the big revelations, but we didn't know that we wanted them. You know what I mean? They were just
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
a
told
good
to
thing
us.
I agree
Yeah.
they're not as like juicy, but I also think the character insight and character like development was really great for those flashbacks. So I really liked them. I was disappointed in the amount of them.
I just wish, like, if he would have been saying, if Venli would have been thinking to himself, "Oh man, I can't believe I did this to the humans," or "I can't believe I did this to
Yeah.
the singers." You know what I mean? It just had some things like that where when that moment landed, it like really landed. Then
Yeah.
it would have made those flashbacks better. But I like them too, Jake.
And part of it is like Brandon Sanderson has said, I think book 3 was originally supposed to be was it book 3 or 2? I don't know. One of them were supposed to be Eshonai's flashbacks, but then they got bumped down the line, and then we already got a lot revealed in Words of Radiance and other stuff. So it was he had it planned out, and it didn't work that way. And so we had information that originally we weren't going to have for the flashbacks, and so there were adjustments that needed to be made. And that being said, like I wish there were more to them, but I really enjoyed them. I thought they were still really good.
You're telling me it's difficult to plan out a 10-book series of 1,000 plus pages and tens of really interesting, well-realized characters with tons of secrets and this entirely alien landscape and make this into like something that people want to read. You're telling me that's difficult?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Mildly.
That makes
Mildly.
sense. That makes sense.
I think that's a good Bentley discussion though. Like not the best, not
My-
the worst.
yeah.
Though.
My biggest disappointment with pacing was, as much as I loved the Die Hard sequences, it felt a little bit like we'll go
Jake's
do something and then we'll go back and like
So
not do
Jake's
anything.
hot take is that, which I agree that I did not mind the pacing with the Eshina stuff and the Venley stuff, but your hot take is that you thought that the Singer stuff was paced well, but the Kaladin stuff was not paced well.
Yeah, I think it was looser than it should have been. It should have been tighter. Like it didn't need, not saying that Kaladin's story should have been shorter, but there was just things that like
Like you didn't need a whole chapter of playing with the little Fabro thing.
not just that even. It's just like, let me try to focus my words here. Because obviously I'm not a writer, so I have trouble with being long-winded as well and not concise. But it just felt like the pacing felt weird in the sense that like some things would happen and then it would just be like, it's like, okay, was that going to be a big thing? No. Okay, we'll wait. And then like something else will happen, something else. It didn't feel like it was building. It just felt like peaks and then flat, peaks and flat, as opposed to like building to a crescendo. There definitely was like the climax and everything in there.
Ooh, Jake.
I know
You just
I
used crescendo
wrong,
incorrectly. Okay.
It didn't feel like there wasn't a crescendo.
There wasn't
It was-
crescendo. Okay.
It was just like flat with spikes and then a big spike at the end, where I would have liked to see more of a crescendo in there to be tighter. But yeah, I feel like it's, like I said, I enjoyed every minute of the book. I just think there should have been a little tighter in that sequence.
Let's go ahead and close out the spoiler portion. So as we close, I don't think worst to the best. I don't know. Should we fit in a worst to the best, or should we do what we're looking forward to in book 5?
I think what we're looking for. I don't know.
No, let's do worst of the best. I want to do worst of the best, man.
Okay. All
Or
right.
no, we can do what we're looking forward to. I don't know.
All right, you choose. Either you throw out your worst of the best, or tell us what you're looking forward to in book 5, or like something that's unanswered, or I don't know. Just give us
I like the unanswered thing.
Give us the most interesting remaining thing that you can possibly say at this time, starting now.
Okay, I'll go first because this is partly a discussion I wish I had, but I want to know what the heck was going on with the cryptics. And
The cryptics or with the physical strand?
Yeah, with the cryptics and all this friend manifesting in the physical realm with the Shar. I feel like that's going to be a really big deal in the coming books. And so I'm flabbergasted by that. When I was reading that, I was like, this is some weird, like what you would expect to see in some Stephen King book.
Yeah.
Like not what you would expect to see in the Sanderson book. And I'm excited for that. I hope that comes into play in book 5. Also worst of the best because I want more of that. And it was awesome.
That's what like the Tukari people were doing in Shadesmar, right? Trying to capture Spren for that.
Maybe.
That was something that I put on Discord, because thinking back to part 2, I was like, wait a second, this whole thing was unanswered. What were they doing? So yeah, it must have been, right?
Because he was in Tukar, right? That's the
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
All right. So I'll go next. My similar to that in a related fashion, my greatest thing I'm looking forward to is I liked how they ended things with Dalinar and Ishi, and how he had that moment of sanity where he was able to say like, hey, I need help, like I need to be sane to teach you. But then he like immediately went back to crazy. So I feel like that I'm excited to see how that plays out with trying to get this insane, almost evil character to be good and redeem himself.
Can I tack onto that? Like just all of the whatever they're called.
Heralds.
Like all of the heralds, just like have them do something more than what they're doing now.
Yeah, what did Talon and Ash do? Nothing.
Man, that was such a cool scene with him and his honor blade and all the stuff he could do. That was amazing.
Dude, there's some speculation that he was maybe burning Atium or something like that.
Weird.
Yeah, that was,
Jacob's
that
calling
was-
Josh weird.
that was my
No,
speculation.
Oh, that was? Oh, how?
Not that he was. Not
I
that
didn't
he
see
was.
the
I don't know
connection.
if it was burning ATM, but I think that there's a similar power set that he was using.
Own it, Josh. Own it.
Josh,
Yeah,
sounds
that
like
he was
he's
burning
changing it.
ATM. Yeah,
I
screw
don't,
it.
I don't
think-
buy that.
I think
I
that he
don't
was
buy
using
that.
ATM.
Because it was the reason for it, because when he was fighting them was described as if he knew exactly
Yeah,
what they
it
were going to be
says
doing.
straight
It's
up in
described in
there.
a similar way that ATM fights are described.
But also,
Yeah.
he's someone who's fought for like millennia.
I know, Jake, but it still says that it's like it says the words like it's like he knew what they were going to do before he did it, and the fact
Yeah.
that none of them could land like even a strike on like his blade, I don't know. And I got a question like that raffled from Zanderson, so just deal with it, Jake.
Oh,
Obviously, Jake does
okay.
not listen to episodes of Fantology he's not
Yeah.
on. That's what we have learned.
When did you get
That's awkward.
raffled on that?
The word
No, we're gonna raffle you. You gotta listen and find out.
Laugh-o.
Yeah.
Laugh-o, Jake.
Okay. Okay. I could see maybe part of his bondsmith powers allowing that, but I don't see him burning actual ATM.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
Ben, what is yours?
So I'm gonna do some weaving here. It's gonna be worst of the best. It's gonna address a question we got on Discord, and it's gonna be what I'm looking forward to most. Okay, here we go. Worst of the best
Oh boy.
is I wish, and Josh, you might want to take your earphones out for this part. I wish that Don Shard would have played more of a role here. I wish that we would have seen Risen do more. I wish that the Amiens would have done more. So that's worst of the best. Was I loved Don Shard. That was the best part, but the worst part was that it didn't play more of a role here. The question
Okay.
we got on Discord was, will Don Shard come into play in book 5? I think it has to, right? Like we have this super OP character that has a Don Shard. She has the intent of changing, right? So we got to see how that plays into this.
She
whole
needs
thing.
to ride the Larkin, right?
Yeah, she needs to be a Larkin rider. She needs
The
to change
speaking
something.
Larkin, apparently.
The speaking Larkin. So yeah, so that's that's kind of everything. And Josh, you can put your earphones back in. We're good.
Does it have to be something we haven't talked about yet? Because honestly, the worst of the best for me is something we already mentioned, which is the whole Adolin and Shallan thing. And I thought they were interesting, but then I just wanted more of a connection, and that was maybe the whole thing with this book for me. The reason why it wasn't 10 out of 10 was the final climax, while very cool and had lots of great payoffs, we didn't connect enough with Adolin and Shallan and Dalinar, and I just loved how Oathbringer brought everyone together. And maybe it needed to be different in this book, and I'm probably glad that not every book is exactly the same. But at the same time, I did just want to see like more of a connection and more of a and a complete arc of some of these storylines in this book. And so maybe that just primes the pump even more for book 5, and I'm even more excited to see how all these things pay off, because there's a lot of unanswered things right now. I mean, we didn't even have time to talk about everything. We probably have through the course of our individual part reviews, but there's a lot here, and I couldn't be more pumped for KOW if the little backwards
The chiasmus holds.
yeah, the whatever that's called, the Katek, I think.
Chiasm.
Yeah.
Well,
tech.
Yeah, well, Katek is
Oh.
the Stormlight Archive word for
yeah.
chiasmus, or whatever that word is. Yeah.
Dude, he makes it work in like every name he puts in. He's gonna make it work in the
Yes.
I
Knights
was
of Woshar.
Wound Table. Knights of
Knights
the
of
Wound
Wound.
Table.
Knights of Wound Table.
All right. On that note, yeah. I mean, guys, this is kind of bittersweet, right? We're closing out our coverage of this book. We've breathlessly covered this book. Stephen had, reviews for the first 20 chapters. We've done a review for each part.
I've devoted
This
the
is
last 6 months of my life to this book.
This is the ending of an era, and
6
I'm not sure how I
months.
feel about it.
Since the preview chapters started coming out, maybe 5 months. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. I was like, the book just came out, but you're right. Yeah, it's been like
Yes.
6
Yeah.
months.
But
I mean,
yes, Ben.
I'm going to admit, I almost started a re-listen as soon as I finished. I might do that in the next couple of weeks here. So I don't know.
I guess I have to make my way back through the Fantology back catalog before I can
Yeah,
do a
Jake.
reread.
Yeah, you do.
You're on restriction.
Sorry,
right
man.
now.
Sorry, man. If you want me on more videos, I got to spend my listening time listening to The Stand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do.
So that's I guess Stephen, you want to give us a preview of what's coming up after now that we're done with Rhythm of War?
Coming up from Fantology 2021. So we are on track to hit 100 episodes by the end of the year. Cue Brandon Sanderson saying huzzah.
Huzzah.
And going into 2021, we are finishing up the Poppy War. So the Dragon Republic and the Burning God. We're going to read both of those. I'm about halfway through the Dragon Republic right now. I'm planning on finishing it quickly before Ben forgets all the details, because I know it's been a little bit since you've read it. And we're going to read things such as Fires of Vengeance, the next Evan Winter book, probably Ready Player 2. Josh and Jake are reading The Stand right now by Stephen King, which, if you don't know what that is, it's about a pandemic, which is about as much as I know. So I'm looking forward to your episode on
First
that.
episode comes
What
out
else are we
this
reading?
week.
Dune. I'm a quarter of the way through Dune.
Dune is happening.
And yeah, Dune is happening. If we're going further into 2021, we're gonna, I'm sure, breathlessly cover the release of Wheel of Time TV show.
Oh, yes.
And Malazan or Malazan.
Yeah. Yeah, we've committed to YouTube commenters that Malazan will be covered more in 2021. I'm excited to get back into that series.
I'm not committed to, like, I don't know if we're going to be able to finish all 10 books within the year, because that's kind of a big commitment.
But we will be reading them in conjunction with other things. So Fantology continues on, even though Stormlight Archive is sadly going to be put into the the rear view mirror for a little bit.
And we might end up, I think that this is, I want to do more Cosmere stuff, so look forward to those. We've done the first Mistborn book. We got to do the two next ones. We got to do Mistborn Era 2. We got to do Warbreaker. I mean, there's a lot that we still need to do with the Cosmere.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, no matter what series you like, I mean, please hit us up on Discord. Let us know what series you want us to cover, or drop some comments wherever you're seeing this content, and we will try to do that. You actually reminded me, Ben, my roommate is reading Way of Kings right now, so maybe we'll have him on for a Way of Kings review, since our first one came out, one of our earlier videos, which are maybe a little bit more rough. So thanks for listening. If you want to support the show, you can do that at patreon.com/Fantology_books. And you can find more of our content at www.fantologybooks.com. See you guys next time.
See ya.
See ya.